The journey from Kharkiv's war-torn streets to Anchorage's quiet suburbs was a desperate search for safety. For hundreds of Ukrainian families, it meant leaving behind homes, loved ones, and a future lost to war. When Russia invaded in 2022, survival became their only goal. They fled with what little they could carry, seeking a place where sirens would finally fall silent. Alaska, remote, rugged, and far from Europe's turmoil, offered that sanctuary. Its isolation was a comfort, promising a quiet place to heal. A small Slavic community and welcoming Alaskans made the transition possible, with groups like Catholic Social Services guiding over 1,000 newcomers. For many, Alaska was the first place in months they felt safe. Families like the Pokidchenkos, who escaped through tears and terror, found hope in the shadow of the Chugach Mountains. They chose Alaska not just as a refuge, but as a place to rebuild and give their children peace. Life in Alaska brought new challenges: long winters, wild landscapes, and unfamiliar routines. Refugees learned to drive on ice, prepare for snow, and adapt to nature's extremes. Churches like New Chance became hubs for support, where traditions and language were preserved. Friendships grew as families helped each other find jobs and enroll children in school. Daily life blended Ukrainian customs with Alaskan realities. Borscht simmered in new kitchens, children learned English, and laughter returned. Many, like Zori Opanasevich of the Ukraine Relief Program, found gratitude and a sense of permanence here. Yet, uncertainty lingered. The Uniting for Ukraine program was paused, leaving families anxious about their future. Even in this safe harbor, the question remained: would they be allowed to stay? Just as stability returned, alarming news spread. Russian President Putin might visit Alaska. Rumors swirled: a summit with Trump in Anchorage, or perhaps a military visit just across the Bering Strait. For refugees, the idea of their tormentor so close was chilling, a cruel twist to their search for safety. Talks of peace felt hollow, especially with Ukraine's president excluded. Many feared a deal would be struck over their heads, forcing painful concessions. The possibility of Putin visiting a military outpost near Alaska felt even more threatening, a show of force at their doorstep. Uncertainty and fear gripped the community, their hard-won peace suddenly fragile. Conversations at home and church were dominated by worry. The shadow they'd fled had followed them to the edge of the world. News of Putin's possible arrival galvanized the Ukrainian community. Fear turned to resolve as leaders organized meetings and shared resources. Prayer gatherings at New Chance Church became acts of hope and defiance. Parents worried for their children, old wounds reopened, and anxiety ran high. Yet the community responded by celebrating their heritage, planning cultural events, sharing music, dance, and art. They refused to let fear define them, choosing instead to showcase their vibrant traditions. By standing together, they sent a message: their identity would not be erased. They were not just victims, but survivors, determined to keep their culture alive. In the face of their oppressor's shadow, they found strength in unity. Their resilience became their quiet resistance. As the summit approached, Alaskans rallied around their new neighbors. Support poured in: prayer vigils, cultural events, and public affirmations of welcome. This solidarity reminded refugees they were not alone. While world leaders negotiated, the real story was in the bonds formed between neighbors. Refugees pressed on, working, raising children, and building new lives. Their determination to thrive was their ultimate act of resistance. On the eve of the summit, uncertainty lingered, but so did hope. Whatever tomorrow brings, Alaska's Ukrainian community will face it together. Their spirit, unbroken beneath the vast Alaskan sky, remains a beacon of hope and resilience.